My life changed in the spring of 1994. I remember it was spring because the branches on the trees around the orphanage were turning light green with tiny new leaves. All the windows in the orphanage had been flung wide open to let in the cool breeze. It blew through the rooms and down the hallways, replacing the building's stale air with the fresh fragrance of the river and sprouting leaves. One of the caregivers was on her knees, bent over a blue plastic bucket, scrubbing away at the floor, back and forth with a hard brush. Scrubbing so hard that a small wall of bubbles was growing around her higher and higher. As hard as she cleaned, the worn yellowed floor tiles, they never looked any brighter to me. The spring air mixed now with the fumes of ammonia and scouring powder. We're having visitors today, I thought to myself. They only cleaned like this when we were having visitors. The newly cleaned floors were slow to dry in the cold air and made it difficult for me to go anywhere. So I stayed in the playroom, my dress already damp from my morning explorations. After lunch, we were given fresh clothes to put on. They were dressy clothes, something we rarely wore. The caregivers did what they could to clean and dress us up to make the best impression on the visitors. For us girls, that meant bright colored dresses with big white and pink bows for our hair. My bow was almost as big as my head. Privet, privet, greetings, greetings, I heard from the front entranceway. A woman had arrived, followed by several people carrying boxes with big plastic bags stacked on top. I was excited. This usually meant food and medicine, but best of all, special treats for the children. They all went upstairs to Natalia's office to talk and have tea, and then proceeded to go from room to room, visiting each of the nurseries. I watched from outside in the hallway as they filed into my nursery room. I was peering around the corner when one of the caregivers stepped in front of me, blocking me from seeing into the room. I don't think they wanted me in there, so I waited behind the corner of the doorway, occasionally poking my head around like a curious mouse. The woman sat, smiling as the children were brought to her. She would talk to them and give each of them a big hug and some candy. As she looked around the room, she spotted me behind the caregivers who had crowded in the doorway to watch. She smiled, waving and motioning to me to come in. The caregiver in front of me stepped aside. In my best dress and bow, I scooted myself across the floor to her. Greeting me with kind eyes and a smile, she reached out, lifting me onto her lap. Kak pas zovut? What's your name? She asked. Tatyana, I said proudly with a big smile. I had never sat on the lap of a stranger before. She hugged me and pressed her lips to my cheek. The warmth of her skin and a scent of flowers and soap enveloped me. She didn't smell like the orphanage. Tetushka, I said to her. Tetushka is a name given as a sign of affection, like calling someone your auntie. Tatyana, she said, pointing to me. Tetushka, pointing to herself. Da, yes, I said, and hugged her again. She handed me a lollipop.